Hello folks, this is Karan here from The Great Work, and today we are going to do a video, just a brief overview of craniosacral therapy. I think this would be interesting to anyone who's not heard of it and is interested in mewing and correcting both their spine and their skull. I've just done a Google search for the basic gist so that you can get an idea of what they're proposing here. The idea is that the craniosacral fluid, so this cavity, you follow my mouse here, this cavity of your skull, in the brain, and all the way down your spinal cord into the sacrum, you have cerebrospinal fluid. And this was proposed by Sutherland a long time ago, and was proposed before him as well. The idea that this fluid is circulated by a motion of the cranium and the sacrum, and also the vertebrae in between. Now, there's nothing conclusive to say whether or not it's the fluid that is causing the motion or it's the motion that is circulating the fluid. They could be, synchronous. But this is really important to the sort of work that we're doing and what we're studying, because it implies motion of the skull bones. It implies motion of the cranium. And the reason that's important is because so much of what we've talked about and what we speculated on is, do the sutures fuse in adults? We'll get to that shortly. Let me just show you a quick video of what they hypothesize the bone movement looks like. You see that? You see the subtle movement? So this is saying that this is how your skull bones are subtly moving, and your facial bones here. You got the maxilla, it's moving as well along the sutural lines, and that's happening to circulate the cerebrospinal fluid, or it's happening as a result of that circulating. Here you can see the actual attachments. You have like the falx cerebri and the tentorium, which is the dura mater that's in your spine, and it goes into the skull right here. And you see how it attaches to all the bones. You got your ethmoid there, which is your nose bone. You got your temporals and the maxilla. So if this is true, if this is how it functions, then that means that you are experiencing motion in your maxilla, in your cranium, in your skull bones, and through your spine. And if this is disrupted, that could be a cause of improper growth, because it's fully possible that this is what keeps the sutures mobile. This is what allows, the sutures to operate as growth sites throughout life, and also gets the bones the nutrition that they need through the cerebrospinal fluid and the blood flow. And I'm just going to pause here. In order to grow properly as a child, and also remain, flexible as an adult. And right here, you can see a cross section. This is the sphenoid bone. So this is the keystone bone of the face. So if this is moving because of this craniosacral movement, then that movement definitely needs to be restarted, or that movement needs to be healthy in order for all of the rest of the bones of the face and the cranium and the sutures to remain loose, so that they can grow properly or continue growing in adults. There was some controversy about whether sutures fuse in adults, of course. And I think the modern consensus is that they don't. The science moves really slowly. The literature seems to move really slowly. But this isn't even a universally accepted idea, right? They had, I'll link this paper below, but there's plenty of other papers. There's plenty of other articles. You can just, all I did was search, do the cranial bones move? And you'll find plenty of articles about it. The fact is that they don't fuse together completely. We know that for a fact because you can take them apart once someone's died. Like if you have someone's skull and you put rice into it, or you put something else that expands into it, and you put water and you wait, all the bones will pop apart again. And studies have been done to prove or disprove craniosacral therapy, to see whether or not the bones of the skull actually do move, and studies have found that they do. I won't go into specific studies right now. I can go into them later if there's interest. But we've basically established that there is motility, there is movement in the sutures, and this motility might be caused by the fluctuations in the cerebrospinal fluid, either their production or the movements of the bones that's causing the fluid to move around. what this is related to is a couple of treatments. The reason I bring this up so soon and like right now in the history of the channel is because a lot of the treatments that seem promising or that, you know, resolve things like symmetry or that people have gotten good results from, they are based on this idea that the sutures don't fuse, and the reason that they don't fuse is because of the cerebrospinal fluid movement and the motion of the cranial bones that's going on. I'm going to scroll this real quick just in case anyone wants to pause and have a read of that, but I'll link it in the description as well. So like one example here is neurocranial restructuring, which is when they stick a balloon up in your nose. I've had this done myself. And it goes up into your nasal conchae and they expand it. And the reason for that is to kind of unlock the sphenoid bone. They're saying that the sphenoid bone is kind of jammed up. It's not able to move. It's not able to quote unquote breathe properly. And so with this application of force, they aim to unjam it. In my experience, which I can talk about in another video, yeah, the first time I had it was incredible. I felt incredible. And then it kind of plateaued after that. I had it 4 or 5 times after and did not have as many effects. I think this is, yeah, Dr. Dean Howell is the person who proposes this methodology, and you can judge for yourself whether or not you think these are great results. Dean Howell was working on a face mask, a way of pulling the face forward, and I can do a whole nother video on that as well, but it's a little bit unrelated. So neurocranial restructuring is using this, and also another treatment that I will talk about eventually is the use of CranioSacral therapy with the ALF, the Advanced Light Wire Functional by Dr. Nordstrom. People are undergoing that treatment as well, where a practitioner in craniosacral therapy, which may be osteopaths, by the way. Osteopaths are recognized as doctors, and the field of osteopathy, which is basically bone doctor, that field recognizes this. As far as I can tell, they do believe that this actually...
Hi, I'm Tad Blondier.
Jeez, thank you, Tad. Okay, they actually do think that this is medically recognized, and they use it as part of their treatment modalities for anything from, you know, back pain all the way to intraoral issues. So I think this is, if you have not heard of it yet, I think this is something you should Google, you should look into. And there's a lot of practitioners for craniosacral therapy, and most osteopaths will offer this as well, and neurocranial restructuring offers this as well. I've mentioned a lot of things here, so if you found interest in any of it, you could leave a comment below saying like what's the next video, what's the next topic of interest that would branch off of this for you. And also, please, if you have experience, if you're either a practitioner or you are a patient of one of these treatment modalities, please let us know in the comments below what's your experiences with this. All right, thank you all. Oh yeah, and like, comment, and subscribe, because the algorithm likes that, and I like that.